I think this is the first time I walk into this shot with a nice cup of coffee. Hello and welcome, everyone. It's Robin on the public bench in The Hague. And yeah, the Good Place Bench conversation podcast series has always been in the core something about why do people live where they live, but also are they in a good place in life? And I have to say, this is a special occasion because next to me, someone who doesn't live in The Hague, but she came by to visit. Um, please introduce yourself.
Yes. I'm Bianca Soria, and um, I'm Italian, but not only. I've lived just about more than half of my life outside of Italy, and that, of course, has added a lot of layers to my identity, and that's something that over time I've sort of started to think about a lot, because living in other places changes you, and then when you return to your home country, you're actually not the same person that left. And so yeah, I've had a very interesting life so far, and I've asked myself a lot of questions, and one day I decided to ask those kind of questions about, what home means to you, where you feel at home, and how do you relate to your country of origin. I decided to ask questions to people living in the city in the Netherlands where I was living, which is Enschede. And from that came a book, and the book now is transforming in a project, and it's evolving, and yes.
Yeah. And this is, thank you, Bianca, for explaining. And this is also what brought us together today, because it feels like two initiatives meet
Yes.
in real life.
Yeah.
And yeah, you were very, um, yeah, I'd say, uh, excited to send me your book.
Yeah.
Can I send you my book? I mean, that's quite an invitation. I'm like, of course you can send me your book. And at first I didn't have any idea, but then it's not a sponsored post, people. This is just sharing value here.
Yeah.
This is your beautiful book, nicely made. It's called Homeunbound: Stories of Migration, Identity, and Belonging. And I mean, we didn't have that much chat on Instagram, how we connected. But then when I received your book and I read the subtitle, I was like, this could be called Good Place, Like, it's exactly why I've started this channel. So I feel it's also a nice dimension again to have you here on the bench. So thanks for, of course, taking on the invitation. Um, quickly back, because half of your life you spent outside of Italy. Where, for those who are viewing and listening, like, where have you lived?
Um, so my first migration was actually inside Italy. If you're Italian, you know that there's a little of difference between the south and the north of Italy. So I come from the south, from Puglia, the heel of the boot.
Yeah.
And then I went to university in Venice. So it was 1,000 kilometers up north, and that's already felt a little bit like a different country at the time. We're talking about the 90s. I met my current husband in Italy, but he's Australian. So my first, I moved to Australia. I was there for 9 years, and then the opportunity came to go with work to China, and we moved to Shanghai for 6 years.
Yeah.
Was supposed to be a short, like 1.5 years, but you know. And then after then, we had the opportunity to go back to Australia, and that's where we started thinking that maybe it felt a little bit like going backwards somehow. We really started enjoying this life of discovery, of exploring different cultures and different things, and it also because we were both in a different country. So when we lived in Australia, my husband was playing on on home at home, right?
Yeah. Home game.
And home game. And sometimes that felt as if you couldn't really understand some of my struggles adapting, because some of the things that I struggled with, although I had a great time in Australia, but of course there are challenges, for him were natural things. They were normal. He didn't see them as with the eye of someone that comes from the outside. While when we went to China, we were both discovering a new country, a new culture together. And so we continued. So we lived 3 years in Chicago. And then from there, we moved to northern part of Germany. We were there for 3 years as well. And then we just crossed the border, literally 15 kilometers into the Netherlands, in Enschede, because the kids' school was there. It was just more practical to let them be independent. And then just over a year ago, we moved to Pamplona, Spain.
Oh, wow. That's only quite fresh.
Yes, it's fresh.
Why Pamplona?
Again, there was an opportunity with work,
Okay.
and we were not actively seeking to leave the Netherlands. Yeah, that's the problem when you move so much. You become a little bit addicted to that feeling of discovering new things and starting again. And so we were not actively trying to leave the Netherlands, but when the opportunity came, we took it.
Because it's also something that I love the word. It was something that was in the book. It's called itchy feet.
Yeah.
Yeah? Itchy feet to move. So you already know that Pamplona is also just one of the many stops.
Well, the interesting thing is actually whenever we move somewhere, we always think, oh no, maybe this will be then maybe we'll stay. We get asked that a lot. So, are you going to stop now?
Yeah.
And we honestly, generally, we go into it thinking, let's try and make this like a long-term, place to be. And somehow things change after a few years. So I'd like to think that
What
Pamplona...
is it? What, itchy feet?
It's itchy feet. It's different times in our lives. We have different needs. When the kids were younger, maybe there were certain needs to be addressed. You need to go somewhere because of the schools, for example.
Your vision is different.
The vision is different. You look at it differently. And I have to say that it gets tiring. Although we know how to do it, because we've done it so many times, certain things become more automatic and easier. But we don't have the energy that we had 20 years ago when we started. And so, I don't know. The answer is I don't know where the next stop will be.
I mean, it's also nice not knowing, right? I think that's also the adventure. And that you're staying open of like discovery.
Yeah.
But I think that's when you read these different stories in the book. For those who don't know, but they all live in Enschede, but they all have different backgrounds. So from I don't know, different countries.
Different reasons for moving. Moving to, some through work, some for studying, some for love, some as refugees.
Yeah, so I think that's the interesting. What sparked me as well is that everyone has a different story, because everybody has a different reason of why a person has been going abroad or going somewhere else. And of course, the one that is very touching is, of course, those who have to leave their country, not because of free will, but because they were forced to.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're also to be grateful in a luxury position to make those choices yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's been a privilege so far to be able to almost every time even definitely choose whether to move or not, almost every time. And sometimes being able actually to choose between two destinations, and it's definitely a privilege. And not having the worry of at least having an income, moving with work. So yeah, that makes things a lot easier. But then, of course, there are other challenges that are not the most visible ones. But then you still need to find your place
Yeah.
and find the connections and learn a new language. And every time you start everything from zero, like, you know, how the health system works and the banks and the taxes and how do you buy a house in the Netherlands versus, you know, and so it takes a little bit of time to, you know, feel like, okay, I can sort of feel like I can relax here a little bit.
I mean, you published the book last year. Has it become easy? Are you using the book as well as a manual on how to go live abroad? Are you more conscious about all those steps you're taking, even when you settled in, landed, meeting new people?
On a personal level, for me, was not so much about learning how to do better moves or more, you know. For me, it was really a way of putting some of my thoughts and feelings in order, because you get a lot of mixed feelings about places and about yourself after, you know, when you change so often, you need to adapt every time to new circumstances. And and you're always the last kid in town, so there's always this expectation always that because you are the last one that has arrived, you have to adapt and you have to
Yeah.
take on the habits and the ways of doing things. So there is a lot of curiosity and fun, but it's a job. Like so for me, doing interviews, putting them together, was a way to really try and, you know, work on myself. What has come out of it is that it helped a lot of people that I've interviewed. Some of them really said, okay, well, you know, I had all these feelings inside, and with your questions and with your, I don't know, maybe you find actually the same with what you're doing here. With your questions and with having to think about certain things, it really helped me sort of center myself on this topic.
Yeah.
And of course, when we done the presentation, we done a book launch and we done a couple of events where the protagonists are reading parts of the stories. We've had people coming to us and saying like, oh, you know, this really like touches me very close.
Yeah.
Or Dutch people that would have said, you know, I've never experienced that myself, but, you know, my brother lives in New Zealand and I've heard him sometimes saying exactly the same things. What I didn't realize at the very beginning when I was struggling with this concept, it started pretty much when we lived in China. You think at the beginning that it's your own, solely your own personal struggle, that maybe you are not good enough or strong enough or adaptable enough. And then later I learned that it's actually, there are common patterns, you know, in cultural adaptations. And so some people come back to me saying, you know, I read this and I feel less lonely because I thought it was just me. And I see how, you know, other people also have gone through the same, you know, sometimes the same challenges. And so there's there's something for everyone in this book. It's people's stories. There's always something to learn from people's lives. Doesn't matter, you know, who they are.
It's nice. You're saying it doesn't matter who they are. Yeah. I wonder myself as well, like, you know, who's sitting next to me on the bench, you know? And you asked me the question as well, that has your core focus also changed over time? And it does, because you also want to experiment. You want to see the least unexpected gives you also sometimes the greatest stories. And
Absolutely.
and you're right that I also feel that we're all craving more and more for these kind of human stories, because we are all after connection in some ways. Doesn't matter if you have relocated or you live here, but still, sometimes the local, especially here in Dutch, the local people, they feel they have it all figured out. You know, they have like friends since like school, and they yeah. Sometimes you do. That's the biggest remark I hear from internationals here, is that yeah, it seems that locals are not in the need of new people.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's
Yeah.
sometimes it's just a missed opportunity as well. So I think one of the many missions I also have with the channel is to like internationals are not all expats. They're not just people that come and go, because there are people that want to hear, stay here.
Yes. Absolutely. So, for me, the easy target group for the book and the project is, of course, the foreigners,
Yeah.
expats, migrants, all the types of people, foreign people that live in the Netherlands. But for me, my long shot, my harder to reach goal is actually try to reach the local Dutch people that have not experienced that, because they form the majority group, the group into which we come.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and that's not just a Dutch thing, that happens everywhere where there is the majority group and the minority group. They just are not aware of the cost and the price that is paid.
Yeah.
Even when you move under good circumstances, there is you have to let go of parts of yourself in order to make space for the new. And yes, we are always expected to integrate, and that's right. But there's never going to be a integration in which we're going to resemble 100%, the Dutch society. Because we are not Dutch, and we come with baggage, and we come with our own experience. And sometimes I think, the goal of this project is to just sometimes make people realize certain things and think, oh, okay, I never thought about that. It's true, if you're fully settled, if you have your connection from your lifetime, from school and work, you don't need us. But there's always something good in an exchange, I think, for everyone. Not for the people that apparently need it more. There's always something good that can come out of it.
Yeah. But also, every person is its person, and that's why you connect with somebody, because you like somebody, and that's beyond culture, beyond background, beyond where you're from.
Exactly.
Um,
We just need to be a little bit more open to it.
Yeah.
And
also make
try-
an effort.
and make a little bit of an effort. Yeah. And that most times will pay off.
Yeah.
I lived in China for 6 years, and I loved living in China. And one question that I would get often was surprise. People were surprised, what made you feel so happy and so at home in China that and often when we think of different culture, we more often think of differences and not what actually we have in common, and we have a lot in common. And for me, China had a lot in common with the Italian culture that I grew up in, because there's this culture about family. They're obsessed with food.
Yeah.
It's a huge country with so many different regions, and you travel 100 kilometers, and like in Italy, the architecture changed, the food changes, the accent changes. So there was something about China that, although being so radically different from where I grew up, it actually made me feel perfectly at home.
Yeah, so I think that's a beautiful train of thought. Like most people are always looking into why somebody's different than you are, instead of the briefing should be, yeah, go and have a look like what you have in common, right? And then what you have in common is that that shared value that you can build from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, one in the sentence that the word belonging is something that really is almost at the core of of what we do. Have you felt belonging in all these places you've lived?
No,
That's
No.
why you left. No, just kidding.
no. um, so the place where I lived that I struggled the most with was the US. When we left China ready to leave, but not because we left because work was taking us somewhere else. But if we had that opportunity to stay a bit longer, we would have stayed. Once it was clear that we had to leave, we could choose between Italy and the US, and we thought, okay, US, something new. It was not at the top of our list, but we thought, we adapted to China. Of course, we will adapt to
Everywhere.
That's what we naively thought.
Interesting.
And I think that the contrast between the life in China and the life we found in the US was just too big at the time. And we went from a place that was super interesting with a lot of sharp contrasts, where we had actually also developed a lot as people and as a family. We'd done a lot of different things. We really had evolved a lot. And we had this buzz inside us. And so we went there very, yes, we do. And then the US was more homogeneous. Yes, we speak English, so you already don't have the layer where you have to learn a new language and all that. And it was a little bit like a movie that we already seen before, because we grew up with American movies. So while in China, whenever you would go on the street, you see everything and the opposite of it on the street. And I don't know, it appeared to be a little bit flat, when we moved to the US and all that. So we thought long term we would like something different. And there were a lot of good things. Of course, we manage always to find good things in every situation. People, yeah. It's always the people, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's always the people. So the friends that we made where we lived, they're very dear to us, and they made the experience good. But it was not, as a package, was not what we were looking for. And I didn't feel like I belonged, and didn't feel like I could ever belong long term. And so we moved to this part of the world.
Yeah. A few weeks ago, I also thought of the idea that maybe belonging is not something you find, but maybe something you grow into, So it takes time to find belonging. That over time you start to, I don't know, find your people, find your places, and suddenly you get more a sense of that you belong somewhere.
There's something that I say in the book is about softening that demarcation line that separates yourself from your surroundings.
Yeah.
So when we go into a new place, we have these barriers that are, in fact, we don't know anyone, we don't speak the language, we don't know how things work, what's acceptable and what's not in this culture, and slowly with time, we start blending in. We start, these barriers go down a little bit or become less thick, a bit more transparent here and there. And that's, you need time for that. In fact, when I was trying to find people to interview, one of my criteria was they would have had to be in Enschede already for a few years.
Yeah.
Because it takes time to go through the whole process and having ideas about it. It's not like a prolonged holiday. It's having to sort of reinvent yourself a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think that the contrast of belonging is a word that I found in your book that I never use, but it's the word dislocation or dislocate.
Yes.
I only know the word when you dislocate
Or displacement.
Displacement.
Yeah, displacement, yes.
or disallocate your shoulder, but dislocate not.
Yeah.
Did you find people actually saying that, dislocate, as in
Displaced. I think
or
displaced.
displaced, or like
Yeah.
more like almost like I don't belong here.
Belong is it certainly a more common and approachable word. Um, but displacement I like because it's really about I don't know. I think it really gives you a visual idea, right? Of you being picked up from somewhere and put somewhere else, even if it's you yourself deciding to do that, but you've been, you in somewhere else geographically, and certainly somewhere else with your, mentally and yeah.
I won't be asking. Will not be asking you which story was strikes you the most. Um, but quickly zooming out of the topic is this, of course, is also a result of all your experiences abroad. Although this very much is our stories of one particular place.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of continuing these kind of stories in, say, for example, Pamplona?
Um,
In Spanish.
so if si vamos a hablar de
Oh, okay. There we go.
so you haven't asked me this question, but I will answer the question that you did not ask me in order then to proceed to the question you asked me.
Wait.
So-
Let me read the script. Okay.
So if you had asked me what home means to you, I would say that for me, feeling that I belong in a place, that I feel at home, is really putting short routes so far. They tend to be quite short, but doing something that is connected with the place where I live, with the people where I live. So for me, when I started doing this project and thinking about it, it was very important that it was rooted in the community where I lived. I could have done it even, some people say, you can go around the Netherlands. I said, well, no, I want to do something because I leave my footprint there, and so every place where I go, I try to do something that is strictly connected with the community where I live. I am thinking how to continue the project in Pamplona. So I have a couple of ideas.
Okay.
We are launching the website, I think at the end of next week.
Okay.
And on the website, you will see that I would like the website to be a place where we can all come together with topics and ideas about these things. So there will be resources. And I would like to maybe interview, again, foreigners in Pamplona, but more focusing on things like a reverse experiment, have them talk about stereotypes and prejudice and maybe discrimination they have been subjected to,
Okay.
but then put a mirror in front of them and say, okay, so what are your stereotypes? What are your prejudices? And, what do you think, in light of what you said before, do you think you've ever, and that's a bit dangerous territory because no one likes to admit these things. But I'm thinking, but
you gotta start
Yeah.
somewhere.
you got to start somewhere, and I wanted to do it with, again, Pamplona. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking could be the next step.
Interesting, yeah. And then you visited all those other cities as well, where you think, there's an opportunity as well, right?
Yeah.
With people you know in China, US.
Yeah. It's. I would like to do it because I like doing it and because I enjoy it, but I would like to also somehow to be a tool and something that people can find useful.
Yeah.
So I would like it to be something accessible, and again to get people see things from a different perspective. Because when we can do that, we can really understand other things, and sometimes we are hold up, what we know,
Yeah.
You know, it's much more difficult then to maybe see different things and also change your behavior, right? Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons I started this was to not be stuck in my own bubble all the time, and then get to know different perspectives. But I hope the stories, and I think your stories as well, can also help give different perspectives and have people open up more, so they start connecting
Yes.
with their environment more, even if they're from different backgrounds.
Yes.
Yeah, that is almost like an assignment to everyone watching as well and
Yes, please.
listening. Go and connect, even if they're not from your same city or background. I mean, so many interesting stories that can come from it, and it will enrich your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you also find, like we said before, you find what you have in common, and there's a lot of. But it takes practice, It takes effort, trying to, to learn new habits and new behavior. You have to, not only be open to it, but also, practice over time, and then it becomes, more natural. Yes. So.
I think in cities, especially cities becoming more international over time, I think it's undeniable that you will have to. I think that's. I even think that how my daughters are be growing up will be also very much international, even looking at their surrounding. It's already there.
Yeah, it's already here.
At one time we will go abroad. That's a given. But we don't know when.
And where?
And where? No idea. Maybe Pamplona. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's check it out. But Bianca, you raised it, but you haven't really answered it. But what is home to you?
So all the places I have lived in, they felt to some extent like home. If I live in a place where I have purpose,
Nice.
then I am at home, because usually what happens when we move the first year, it's all about, okay, my husband goes and he has his job. So that's he keeps a lot of his social identity because he's working there, And then the kids, school and their activity and all that. And that's often left me then having to, okay, what am I here for?
Good.
What am I here for? Yes.
Yeah.
The kids are in school, the job is there, and then what do I do here? So whenever I found good purpose, good way to connect with the place and be there for something that was my personal development or my personal enrichment, then I've felt at home, yes. And I think, yes, this is what always works well for me. Otherwise, I feel totally disconnected. And yes.
But it feels that this project is your purpose, and it doesn't have any. It's not bound to a location.
Hence the title,
Homeunbound.
Homeunbound. So when I was thinking of the title of the book, of course I wanted something that had the word home in it.
Yeah.
And then I thought of Homebound, and I really liked that because the interviews are researched from home, so you homebound. So I really thought that's a perfect title. And then I Googled it, and there were already so many books with this title, Homebound. And some of them, of course, specifically talking about these topics. And I said, okay, no, I can't do that. And then I focused on the word bound as boundaries. And I thought, well, the outcome of this interview is actually that, people, the feeling at home can be a place or it can be a feeling, but we've discovered that it can be without boundaries. Yeah. So unbound. Yeah. And that's where, Homeunbound came about, which, get a couple of questions, a couple double takes sometimes. Homeunbound? But it makes a lot of sense for me.
Yeah.
And after you read the book, I think it makes sense for most people that read the book said, Homeunbound, without boundaries.
Yeah. Because also mostly it's also there.
Yes. Yeah, and you can recreate a home, you can recreate the feeling
Yeah.
through connections, through doing things that give you purpose, but you can recreate, that doesn't mean that the previous home is completely erased. I mean, I've always been Italian. I always feel at home when I go back to Italy. But if I was to say that Italy is home, I will only be telling half the story. It's not, I don't feel complete. I feel like there's something missing. I have more home than once.
Yeah. And you live in new realities. When you were in Italy, you were, I don't know, with your parents, siblings. Now you have your own family and everything in between. That's what I noticed now as well. I told you my story about, growing up abroad, which still somehow is home, but nobody is there or left.
Yes.
And then there are also other places that I could call home, or the previous city I lived in. But now I created a new home,
Yeah.
and suddenly with my own family.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that's again a new dimension to life. Um, so yeah, the physical side of things might definitely change. Um, also, rest me the case. What is a good place to you, Bianca?
Um, a good place is a place where, I can be myself. I can express myself, and I have the opportunities and the support sometimes, because sometimes the energy level is not always. There's a lot of energy that goes into having to learn new things and living in a new place. There's a lot of your time and energy that goes into that. So sometimes I need a little bit of extra support. I have a good support system. Um,
In what way? Sorry.
um, well, definitely my husband, partner, is we support each other strongly in this, because luckily the up and downs usually don't happen at the same time. So when someone is, feeling a little bit more the weight of all the bureaucracy, and all the different languages, and all the redoing your documents, and you have to deal, like, the girls were born in Australia, so if you want documents from there, because my son was born in China,
Oh wow.
and if I want something now, from Italy, then I'm in charge of that, because I'm the Italian one and English. And now, so there is a mental load that is heavy, and you know, sometimes you need to really have, and remind yourself why you're doing it. Remind the reasons why you decided to do that. Sometimes you think, oh my God, like, does this make sense?
Yeah. Is this my own fault or what?
Yeah, did I really choose this? Do I keep on choosing to do this?
Am I a victim of something? No.
Or a victim of myself?
Victim of yourself. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Before we end and conclude this episode, because I feel this is, of course, we're so on this topic that we could talk endlessly. Um, maybe save this for a sequel or follow up. Maybe Pamplona
Maybe.
on a sunny bench.
You've never been there, right?
No.
There's a lot of benches in Pamplona.
There you go.
There's
I'll
a lot of people to actually go out and sit and
Yeah,
socialize.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll look. Let's look into flights. Sure. But maybe it's also nice for you, and of course with the book. And is there something you would share as like an advice to people that, I don't know, just moved or are about or want to make a move? Yeah, enlighten them.
A piece of advice.
From your experience.
Yes. It's always usually the first step. You find support in a community that is a bit like you, so expats or foreigners and all that. So because you don't have your own family there, we become each other's family and support system. So, the friends that are also new or they're not originally from the city are the people you're going to call in the middle of the night for an emergency, or, if you need anything, those are the people you're going to call. So that's essential. There's a fantastic safety net. So there's a lot of actually groups, and everywhere you go, there will be groups. The danger of just sticking with these people is the fact that your experience remains limited. Do you rehash always the same stories and the same topics and the same complaints about the country you're living in? So you have a list of common topics about the Dutch. And so, integration is a two-way street. So yes, we need to make a little bit of effort also to learn the language and try to, do things on a local level, be involved. Everybody has an interest or a passion or something, so we can do something about that. And then, of course, we expect the local people to have, the open-minded attitude to be a little bit of curiosity, and that's an advice, and make you feel welcome, and maybe not just ask questions about how do you like it here, okay? Because there's always this thing like, if you left from a country that was more politically unstable or poorer, and then you come here, then you must be happy. You must be grateful to be here, okay? Maybe don't ask just the question, how do you like it here? Ask other questions like, what can I do to help you find yourself here? What is the thing that you would have helped you when you first arrived, you haven't had yet? And then maybe,
Like reach out.
Ask questions about the transition period, the adaptation time, which is what we focus a lot in the book. It's not just what you reached at the end, but it's the whole process. So that's advice for Dutch people.
Well, maybe not only for Dutch people.
But for whoever belongs to the majority group, as we say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I think it's Dutch interviews, but Dutch stories, and experiences, but there is a bit of unified.
It's a common denominator for it can be any. You can be anywhere in the world. You can have it's the behaviors, the underlying issues and challenges are common to every interaction between people that are moving to a new place and the people that are there already.
A free compliment. I feel that you formulate everything really well, like very clear and thought of. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe it's because you wrote it also in as a part of the book, maybe, but it's
I think about these things a lot.
Yeah.
I read.
You're able to formulate it very well.
I read a lot about this. I would like at some point to be able to do some organize some sort of intercultural meetups for people to come and maybe talk about one topic at a time, where we can, put something on the table and get the different experiences. And I'm an intercultural trainer as well, although I got my certification, but I haven't actually worked with it. But I would like to, in the same way we offer maybe sometimes free language lessons, I would like to organize something that offers people space to come and sit down and, talk about these things. To put some, first of all, to find some connection, but also to maybe clarify some things that are in your head. Don't really know how to tackle, how to feel about that. These mixed feelings that we have. We feel uncomfortable with something, we don't exactly know why, and just unpack it a bit. And
Remold it and then pack it back.
Yes.
In. It almost feels like Christmas, huh?
Yes.
Yeah,
It is almost good.
it's almost Christmas. Yeah. No, yeah, I think I would love to be involved if you ever think of that doing something or if I can help.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can do that. We
Yeah.
can do that. Let
Cool.
me,
Think about it.
think about it. We can do something because I really think we're not too far
No,
from each other
no.
with what we are doing, and if you look at scholarly level and studies and all that, there's a lot of information out, but a lot of this information doesn't necessarily reach the everyday people.
No.
Or it reaches it, but in a very stereotypical way. There's a lot of reads about, 10 things we love or hate about the Dutch,
No,
or the
exactly.
things.
But it doesn't
That's
provide a
that's a
solution.
very much a surface thing. But what we want to do is we just go a little bit deeper and reach what the core values are. What's lying underneath that drives maybe certain behaviors and certain the attitudes, and understand them better. And I think that's long term much more rewarding and helpful in when you try to, yeah.
In the past years, we've also launched the Good Place program, which was actually that. We're helping citizens go through an 8-week program on figuring that out, but also offering them that support network that they need. And I think that's also a lesson that we've learned is that you might be you might feel lonely at times, but actually you're not alone. And that's exactly how you opened it as well, is that people jump on these kind of stories and think, hey, wow, I finally feel that I found somebody who's in the same situation. Well, there's the thing. Probably that something you feel is something that someone else is also feeling.
Yes.
And we just need to make it our job to share those stories more, so people don't feel alone.
Yes.
And that's something else. I'm feeling lonely. I totally get that. But yeah, you're not alone. And I think that's a nice way to offer people that kind of support network. Yeah.
I agree.
Dear Bianca, I'm going to thank you. This was a different way on getting a perspective from a book, having it live on the bench. I hope you enjoyed it.
I loved it. Thank you.
Yes?
Thank you for the
Okay.
opportunity to reach as many people as we're going to reach with this. I think it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels also we're joining forces here.
Yes. I like that. I'll take you in your words.
Yeah, perfect. Let's do it. Everyone else, please find the link below with the reference to the website and the book. The website will be live when this is published, so that's a good timing. Yeah. Think of the last words that we shared with you for everyone thinking about going abroad, relocating, or adjusting to a new place. Bring an umbrella when it rains. This doesn't happen in Pamplona. It does happen in The Hague.
You'd be surprised.
Okay, good. But well, we survived. Thank you so much for your attention. Please subscribe to our channels, Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. It would mean the world. And yeah, looking forward to our next person next to me on the bench. All the best. Have a nice day. Ciao.